This is the most recent update, it looks like.
Yes.
Yes,
Hey,
it is,
everybody.
'cause the lighting changed.
We are here to celebrate the Galciv 3 anniversary.
Woo! Though
The
technically
whole
we're
year.
4 days late.
Technically, we are 4 days late. So the 4-day late anniversary of Galciv 3's launch a year ago. And I'm here with lead designer Paul Boyer, and we're going to talk about some Galciv stuff. So,
Hello.
Hey, Paul. Let me know if the sound
Oops.
is coming in all right. If you guys are having any issues with the sound, let me know. I will fix it. If Twitch starts twitching, well, there's not much I can do about that, but I'll try.
Or if the music is too loud or any
Yes.
such things.
I've checked the music and rechecked the music, but you never know.
All right, so
Say
today
happy birthday.
today we're playing 1.71, which is the build that just went out or is going out, I think, as we speak, or maybe is already out.
I don't know. We've done so
Which
much
is
marketing, I don't
which
even
is
know.
more or less a more polished version of 1.7, which everybody got last week. Let's see, what is big in 1.71? It all bleeds together to me now. I don't honestly know. Wow, that's embarrassing for me. Anyways, lots of little polish points of tweaking of bugs and some more constructor polish. Like now you can override the global settings for all of the different all your star bases from each star base. So like if you always want all of your star bases to use one thing, you can now just say set for all. And if you want them all to auto upgrade, you can say set for all. So we actually ended up turning off auto upgrade as the default now that we have that option. So people, have more of a choice. The reason why we had it on as the default is because you would end up turning it on every star base, and I didn't want people to feel like they had to do that. So it worked out really well now that we have that option. And
Right.
Brad pointed out, it should probably be the other way. So we did one last minute change on that, and it's I think people like that. A couple lighting changes, try and make ships more visible on the map. Lots of little polished things. One of the things we're working on. I think there's some lobby changes, multiplayer changes. Et cetera, et cetera. Essentially, we wanted to make sure we had a nice, solid build for the anniversary. So that's it. Now, the next one out, will have some more substantial changes. We're going to introduce asteroid mining, which people have been wanting, and ship leveling.
Oh.
So that'll be in 1.72, which was going to be 1.78, but is now called 1.72. Oh, this is new. So this now tells you who's going at what turn.
Oh, that's helpful.
So I don't know if you guys can
let me-
actually see that.
let me
My
take our
face might be
faces
in the
off real
way.
quick. There we go. Boop.
And hey, wait a second. That's supposed to say
So that lower right-hand
unknown
corner.
player, not player. I wonder if I didn't check that in. Oops. Not a deal breaker. Anyway, so that's pretty much, we've got lots of things like that. So this is nice. We also did a bunch of optimization, so turns should be a little faster. Trying to think of other things. Anyways, we why don't we start taking some questions, and I'll see if anything comes to mind while we're going forward, if anybody has any
Alright.
questions.
Philipponus asks if they could get like a roadmap update. So I don't know how much you can talk
Well, we
about,
have,
but-
yeah. As a matter of fact, I think Brad has been posting some roadmaps.
Oh, has he? Okay.
But I can kind of sum up. Okay,
Great.
so coming up shortly will be 1.72, which is going to introduce asteroid mining. And the way that's going to work is you'll be able to click on an asteroid base that is in your area of effect. Because we didn't want to bring back like the miner and have you micromanage sending around a ship.
Right.
So all you really have to do is have possession of an asteroid. You select it, and then you can buy an asteroid base. So you say for like 500, or we're still balancing that, 500 gold or whatever.
Right.
Not gold, credits. You
Also
buy
has the same, right?
bottle caps, yeah. So you buy the asteroid base. It'll take like 5 turns to build, and then it will start sending raw production to the nearest planet.
Oh, awesome.
That you don't get to control where they go, so they'll always just go to the nearest planet. We might introduce a governor for that, but it can actually become a really big spreadsheet, and we didn't want people to feel like they had to micromanage it.
Right.
So like I could mine these, I could mine this, I could mine this, but if I say these were this is in my effect, they overtake it, it will flip to them, and they will get that production. And if it goes out of your area of effect, it'll shut down until somebody takes it back. So also they'll diminish with distance. So like if you must have bought the mercenary with the I don't know what boosted there. Oh yeah, he's got this sensor thing. Anyway, so if you where was I talking about? So asteroid mining, you do this. If it goes out of thing, it'll flip. If you get this asteroid, I think right now we'll be balancing the algorithm, but if it's further than 6 tiles away, it starts to diminish a percentage. And these aren't going to return a lot of production, but because there's so many of them, we're still balancing that. But it'll be a couple points or whatever, and you can get less than 1 of a production point. So even if you get this and only 0.2 of a production point is getting back to Earth, that's a big deal because everything modifies off of production points. Right. It's like having free people. So so that's going to be fun. The other thing, and this was actually started as a request for mercenaries, was to make the mercenaries level up. So we are making all ships level up. All ships right now in this first iteration will just gain hit points, much like they did in Galciv 2.
Okay.
As they level up. I'm going to try and keep the curve really steep, so like a level 12 will be really high. But by doing that, I can make all of the bonuses more substantial. So when you level up, it'll really, you'll get get enough points to where it means something, rather than having to keep it really low because you're going to have a level 100 ship.
Awesome.
But we're doing it in such a way where we can also then go into the bazaar, and I can make this mercenary level up. And because his entire purpose in life is this sensor range, I can make it so his sensor range goes up as he levels up.
Oh.
Or this guy who's a survey ship and earns extra credits, maybe his credits, the amount of credits he gets each time level up.
Yeah.
Or, well, actually, that's probably a bad example because that's a trigger, but something like that. So essentially, we can customize that. And this all leads as kind of a baby step into some of the features that will be coming with Crusade, which is a ways off, but it's going to be a really big update. It's going to be essentially, a really big update. It's going to be like a Dark Avatar level update, and we're going to be spending. We've already got developers working on it, and it's not due out till next year. But in the meantime, we're going to continue to, patch the base game,
right?
And we will also be releasing some more DLC. And I'm pretty sure all of the future DLC until Crusade is going to be campaigns.
Oh, really?
Because I can do those while the developers work on other stuff. So we've got a bunch of campaigns. I don't know if I should really say kind of the theme of them, but you'll figure it out when you see the first one. But yeah, so we're going to do a bunch of new campaigns. We'll probably have to add a little bit of code and triggers and stuff to make sure we can do all the crazy stuff. But yeah, so got a bunch of new campaigns coming. We got some new features. I think we're trying to stop adding features because we want to finish the vanilla game, before we move into Crusade and make sure everything. But we want it to be really good. We want it to be the best version of Galciv 3 in this iteration as possible. So we'll probably be adding more things. We'll be doing more AI tweaking. We'll be doing all those things. But we'll also, I think there's one more thing. Damn it. There was one more thing that Brad wanted to get in before we leave, and that would be in 1.73. Oh, also in 1.72, one of the biggest changes is we're doing, they're refactoring how multiplayer works. So those of you who play multiplayer, multiplayer should get much more reliable and hopefully faster.
Excellent.
Which is also part one of something that will be coming in Crusade that we don't want to talk about yet. So so lots of good stuff going on. That's kind of the roadmap as I know it. Brad is also talking about some other content, but I don't think I'm allowed to talk about that. But yeah,
Always better to be safe than sorry.
it is probably better to be safe than sorry. So
Brad can be the one to spill the beans on that.
Yeah.
Nobody can get him in trouble if he does. So,
Yeah.
yes, Spencer, I think you should give away some Galciv keys. I think that's a great idea. So, guys, keep an eye on the chat. Spencer's going to be doing some cool stuff. And, Paul, there are some questions for you that are backing up here. Let me see here. We have somebody asking, can the player number be included after you meet a player?
So that you know what their number is?
Like which one player 1 is, which one player 2 is, I suppose.
Well, actually, no. Once you meet the player, it says
It'll
Terran.
say their name?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Okay.
No, it only says unknown, and that's why I was a little surprised because I changed that to unknown. It must have got merged out. So that because we don't want to tell you who's out there, because sometimes players play with random races, and a lot of other races are random by nature. Mm-hmm. So that is why it says that. I'm a little concerned that it doesn't say. But once you've played a little while, so if you look down, it says Ghost of Abaddon. It'll be starting, and it'll say... And actually, it seems like when you soak, that gets stuck, but it's supposed to disappear. So, yeah, Iconian Refugees, Ghost of Abaddon, blah, 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 blah. And it's mostly just so you know who's going, and it also gives you a sense of that things are progressing in case you're going, oh, man, what's taking so long? So when you have 100 players, you go, oh, that's why this is taking a while. So, let's see. I know there's tons of other little stuff, but my brain is not. Oh, and I don't know. Yeah, I forgot about this. So actually, I should probably stop soaking for this. We did a bunch of diplomacy tweaks. So we're kind of rebalancing, and we're going to do more. We just kind of didn't have time, so 7.3 will have more diplomacy tweaking to it too. But now it's like, if you see a treaty, if you have a treaty unlocked, it will show up and it'll just say you're not at war, so you can't get this. Because a lot of times, what we would do is before is like, well, this treaty doesn't apply, we just hide it. So players would be like researching diplomacy, and then they go talk to the Drengen, and it'd be like, well, where did all those things, that I bought go? And it's because the Drengen hate you so much that none of those things are valid.
It's okay, though. They're equal opportunity haters.
So now they will actually tell you why. Like, here's open borders. Requires a relations of...
squirrel tail, sorry.
So, like, the Snathy don't like me, but open borders requires a relations of negative... to be -2 or better, which is pretty pathetic.
Gotcha.
That's like, they just have to not hate you. And in this case, they hate me. So my current relations are -10. So I am either at war... I'm not at war, but they're wanting to go to...
Seriously,
If it wasn't early in the game, they'd probably be wanting to kill me. Okay, and then this is another little polished thing that I don't know if most players will realize, because anybody who's a trader like I am, I mean a trader as in I like trading decks and stuff, you used to have to come in here and say, I'd like this, and then go, okay, and then say accept. It would take you back to here. Then you go to the next faction, and you do da-da-da-da-da. So now you can actually just stay in this screen. So I want to offer him this. I'm just going to give it to him. And then I'm going to go here and go, oh, yeah, you know what? You also should have. Oh, wait, I just gave him a starbase. That's probably, here, have this tech. And I would like it for some credits. And he has no money. And so I just give it to him anyways. And now you should see up here this thing. Oh, I'm probably bad enough to where it won't make any difference. Yeah. So now you can toggle through those guys and make trades, which is, I think, some players will be like, oh, thank God, about time. So that's another little polish point. There's also a bunch of better balancing in the diplomacy. Trying to think of what other things have changed. Everything blurs together for my poor little brain. I think maybe the sensor change was in 7.1. that might already been out there. I get lost in what was in the opt-in, which is what was in the last build, which is because we're always running like a month ahead of what you guys have. So,
Right.
So it's a little weird for me sometimes. Anyways, do you have any other questions?
Yes, we do. Let's see. Will asteroids be able to be sent to shipyards?
Asteroids be able to send to shipyards?
Yeah.
You mean like, will they be able to send their production to shipyards?
I would assume perhaps that's the question.
They will be sent to the planet, and the planet sends its production to the
Gotcha.
shipyard. In my original design, I actually did have them going to the shipyard. I was trying to make it play a little different. I didn't want to overpower the population. But it turns out that you really don't get as many asteroids as you think you will. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. So we'll see. And also they end up dividing up. So it's like if you were able to send every asteroid from your whole thing to one planet, then it could get a little OP. But if you have more than one planet, then they're going to get divided up. Like all of these ones are going to be going here, and all of these ones are going to be going here.
Right.
And the minute and all of these ones are probably going here, and so you end up with a little more balance, and also with the diminishing returns. That said, this is just a first iteration of this. We might end up tweaking it a little bit as we go forward. We might introduce different types of asteroid mines. We might introduce
Gotcha.
leveling up them. Things like that might end up waiting toward Crusade. It just depends on how the feature goes over once people have it.
Boardwalker asks, will any DLCs include new factions?
Yes. And I think that's all I'll say for the moment.
Probably best.
Yes.
So yes to answer
Yes.
that. Excellent. And let's see, there was another question I missed. I apologize. Why can't the AI attack more than once a turn?
Technical mumbo jumbo. We are actually working on fixing that.
So insert technical stuff.
I forget
Gotcha.
why the initial reason it was done. I think it's to stop race conditions in multiplayer, which is
Gotcha.
not terribly I mean, you go, well, that's stupid. You just don't do it in single player. But there was a reason, and when you have these really nasty race conditions, sometimes you have to be safe.
Right.
But we are working on getting rid of that limitation.
Excellent.
Matter of fact, we might have already gotten rid of that limitation, but I don't want to say we have. I know that it's been looked at. It's been looked at.
Gotcha.
It might be part of the multiplayer change that we're working on now.
Oh, okay. Philipponus asks about timings for 1.72, 1.73, and thanks for the updates.
1.72. I don't want to give exact dates, but you're looking at 1.72 in June, maybe mid to end of June, and 1.73 probably in August. We try and do an update once a month, and those might slow a little bit as we become more dedicated into Crusade.
Right.
Or not so much slow. We'll probably still do them, but they might have less features. They might be more just bug fixes. But we really want it. We're really excited about Crusade. We want to really hit a home run.
Do some cool stuff with that.
Yeah.
The CW asked me to thank you for the life support progression correction.
Oh yes.
So
What's funny is that that's one of those things that's like I've tried to fix like 5 times, and then it'll be like, and then it's not fixed, and I'm like, what? I don't know whether I like fixed it and didn't check it in, or if I just made a blatant mistake. But and this is one of those things where it's like player feedback says, "Here is the math, dummy," and I'm like, oh yeah, and yeah, and since I was in there tweaking sensors and mass and all that stuff, it was easy for me to go in there.
Well, it's fixed, so that's great.
Yeah. If anything, I think the high end ones might be a little OP now, but by the late game, it's just a matter of, well, do you want to go all the way across the galaxy because you've already spread across the galaxy, or because you have life support? So I don't think it's that big of a deal. So that's one of those things that we wait for more feedback from players, but nobody has complained. Oh,
Yeah.
now I can go too far. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out.
Gotcha. Awesome. Let's see. We've also got a question from Jono LR, who asks, "Are you working on your editors, Paul? And is there any chance of fixing the long-standing broken assault carriers?"
Long-standing broken assault carriers. I guess I'd have to know what he particularly means about
Jono,
what
can
is
you
broken
be a little
about
bit more
them.
specific for us, and then Paul can.
And as far as the editors, yes, actually, I have one of the things we want to do, and I'm not sure. We're tiptoeing around doing it in game. In Crusade, you're going to be able to bundle the whole race, the ship style, the tech tree,
right,
the colors, the flavor text, all into one thing and share it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to make your insert copyrighted race here, and have them actually say things about Klingons or whatever, you can. Now, a lot of the data that makes the AI behave a certain way is data driven, but is not in something that a player would ever edit. So what we will probably do is have in game, you'll have the ability to, just like you do now, create a custom faction, and then in that faction you'll say, and this is their ship style, and then you'll open up the ship style and say, and their destroyer is this, and their thing is this, and their thing is
right.
that, and their destroyer is called the whatever, and their is called the whatever. So you'll be able to change the names, assign all of the default things, and then what we will probably do is give out an editor that allows you to do the more nitpicky stuff. So if you want to do a faction flavor text, you'll be able to go in there and do a bunch of writing, and then you just will have to manually stick that in with it. But or we can even make it bundle that up if it exists. Okay. But that's the current plan. Now, I actually do have a much more user-friendly version of the editor that I have been working on, and I've been keep meaning to separate it out, but honestly, we're just really busy. And
yeah.
It's kind of something I do on my spare time because I want to give it out to users.
Because you're awesome.
And mostly because we just have a lot to do, and I have to kind of choose my priorities by what I'm being told to do by higher ups. So, but yes, we are, and not that they don't want to release these things. It's just that we're more interested in making the game more stable, making the game more fun. So that's why those aren't out, and also, they're kind of really for hardcore people only and modders only. So, but I think people will like it once we get it out. I just need to finish it. I just need to finish it.
Gotcha. Jono has clarified a little bit his earlier question. He says the core design blueprint doesn't appear. The XML is calling for a required component that doesn't exist.
Really? I will check that.
All right. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
So it doesn't build. So it never appears.
That's what it says.
Okay, so that's why I would miss it, because it just doesn't show up.
Right.
And the only reason he knows it exists is because he's looking at the XML.
Gotcha.
Okay. There is even a slight chance that we went, that doesn't show up, so we don't care because it doesn't exist because it's not showing up. But
Gotcha.
I will take a look at that.
Awesome.
I certainly would like them to work if
right.
it's just some silly wrong name in there.
Gotcha. Let's see. Larsenex, asks, will ship leveling be ship only, or is an NPC which you can move from ship to ship an option?
That is not an option currently.
Not currently.
That is part of. I talked about commanders a million times because I always wanted to do it, and I think we're finally going to do it in Crusade. It might not be in the exact manner in which I outlined it originally, but yes, you will eventually be able to level up a commander, and then he'll become an admiral, and he'll become or a commodore and an admiral and whatever, and then you put him in a fleet, and he'll give that fleet a bonus.
Okay.
So that is the plan for that, but it is not locked down in stone yet.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Era's Child asks, any news on more workshop integration, easy handling of ship sets?
That is exactly what I was just talking about with the factions. but that is probably not going to happen until Crusade, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Give us some time.
But because we do actually, honestly, there's a performance issues with the ship styles.
Oh, is there?
And we have to kind of rejigger. We have to refactor some of the way the style sets are loaded and saved and everything. And those types of things can break backward compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
So we really can't do those until
right.
we're making a clean break, which we will probably do. I'm not even. Yeah, we will have to do.
Gotcha.
For Crusade.
Okay.
They won't make Galciv 3 vanilla stop working. It'll be a separate game that you can play. I mean, all the founders will get it and everything. It's not a brand new game. It's just going to be it's going to be expandable, much more like we traditionally did with Galciv and Galciv 2 and Twilight. It allows us to do a lot more robust changes.
Right.
Like I want to redo the interface. So it's going to be a big change.
All right. And Lord Vertuvian asks, he says, I have been away from this game for a while. Has anything been done to the planetary invasion mechanics?
Not really, no. I've wanted, I've probably told everybody on the stream, we're going to redo planetary invasion. We have something now, but it became more complex than we wanted, and therefore it's been pushed into Crusade.
Gotcha.
It's also at this point, we don't want to. I don't want to put this like in a weird way. I don't want to say like we don't want to add new features, because obviously we are adding new features.
Right.
But we don't want to add completely new mechanics right before. Well, not right before. To me, it's right before because I'm developing it. Right before we start branching to a bunch of other new mechanics. So development-wise, it's just not been practical.
Yeah, you can only.
And
do so
honestly,
much.
it's not. Strangely, not requested that much, except for by certain people. But I really want to I would like an invasion mechanic that is actually useful. I don't want just another, here's your random chance of invading, or here's your this, or here's your that. We want some practical input, but we also want it to be quick.
Right.
I don't want people to feel like they have to micromanage. I mean, late game, you could have an invasion every turn. It's just kind of the same as battles. But we want some mechanic, and I think we have something we're happy with. Mm-hmm. But it's too big of a change for the vanilla game.
Right. Let's see. I think we're running low on the questions, so if anybody else has any more, keep them coming. Boardwalker says, can the new asteroid bases be destroyed?
Yes.
Yes, they can.
That was something I actually was debating, but yeah, you can blow them up. They also flip if you're, and I think I already mentioned that, they flip they flip instantly. It's not like in Galciv 2 where you had like a whole cooldown. If it goes into the other person's territory, it's theirs. Mm-hmm. So it gives you a lot. But then again, you also don't have to then do all this back and forth fighting. You just, I'm going to go throw a starbase there. That'll reinforce and I'll get those guys back. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge for the AI to use them smartly. Mm-hmm. But that's our problem.
Andro Shellfork? I probably didn't pronounce that correctly, but there you go. Any big changes to trade coming up?
Diplomacy trade or trade route trade?
Which one? You tell us. In the meantime, Zapgun for Hire asks, is being able to trade for a unique tech from a faction still on the timetable? Crusade, maybe?
It is on my timetable for 6 months ago. And like I said, it turned out to be kind of a bigger challenge. I can almost guarantee, I don't want to 100% guarantee, but I almost guarantee that it will be in Crusade.
Mm-hmm. Philipponus says, I would like a more active role for military star bases and engaging enemies. Any plans in that direction?
Kind of, but nothing that I'd be willing to talk about, no. I mean, I know a lot of people would like to be able to have a military base, be able to like attack things that flew by and stuff like that. I don't think that's practical. There might be an option to have fighters. If it has fighters, have those fighters dispatch an auto attack or something like that. I'd like to try and find modules that are more useful for military. I mean, right now, honestly, military bases are really useful if you use them right. But the problem is that players, by the time you invest so much in a big fleet, you often don't really feel the need for them. I always build them around like my border. Especially they're much more useful if you're playing on higher difficulties to fortify your territory. Especially if you're Archean, because the Archeans get like a bunch of extra bonuses.
I like the Archeans. Yeah. Any ideas on spies?
Lots of ideas on spies. I have an entire design document on spies, but you don't get to know anything of it. No, that's all in Crusade. We're going to introduce units, which are units. I keep calling units. Brad calls them citizens or whatever. I guess he doesn't like the term units. But to me, there is a category of essentially kind of like heroes. They're units that some will be for manufacturing, some will be for spying, some will be commanders of ships. So there'll be all these little units that you can use. But spies and diplomats will be two of those types of units.
Gotcha. Let's see. Gosh. Suddenly there was like a slew of questions. So
that's what
excuse
you
me
get
a
for
second
asking.
while I scroll up, guys. Any plans for full mode support in the future? I'm not sure what full mode support is.
Full mod support, probably.
Oh, mod support. Okay.
Yes and no. It's hard. That's not really my call, unfortunately.
Right.
I know there is valid reasons why we have not done that yet, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what they are.
Gotcha. Okay.
I tend to focus on the things that are the most accessible to players, which is why we do factions and ships and maps. And then when you have the complete factions, which I don't think we actually have a name for yet, that will also be on the Steam Workshop.
Excellent.
And we might even, while we're doing that, do ship styles, but I don't know if you will really need one or the other. So we'll play with that. As far as just like this whole mod is there is reasons that are not easily accessible by the top of my head, probably involving the data, the way the data things are built. So I will say no. At this point, I do not know of any plans for that other than that we would like to do it.
Okay. And to clarify on the trade question from Andros Half Orc, sorry, it's all one word. I didn't break it apart. In trade, I'd like to see the ability to build trade networks and have internalized trade.
Oh, that might be something you might someday see in Crusade or something, but no, there is no current plans to change that in the base game. Mostly because the trade is really hard to balance, and especially internal trade. Now that said, there's going to be something in Crusade that it will probably give you exactly what you're asking for, but I'm not going to call it trade. So we'll talk about that in about 6 months.
Zapgun for Hire says, what is the rationale for having a UP vote be voided if one faction defies it? Couldn't still apply to the non-defying factions. Kind of a pain with games with lots of factions to have almost all the votes defied.
Oh. I don't think I have a really good response to that. I don't actually think
you guys struck Paul silent. Good job.
I don't think I would have a problem with it applying to everybody else. I guess maybe I don't play enough people to have that problem. But that is a really good question. I don't think it would be hard to make it the other way. It does seem odd. I don't know. I don't know. That's good feedback. I will look into that because I wonder if I had a really good reason or if somebody had a really good reason that I forgot about. But off the top of my head, no, I can't think of a really good reason not to do that.
Zapgun for Hire says achievement unlocked.
Yeah.
Well done, guys. Zero Zim Zero says, "Are huge nebula still on the table?"
Huge nebula. They are. There's nothing stopping huge nebula. We just haven't really bothered adding them because most maps they don't make a big enough gameplay change.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing stopping a modder from making really big ones now. What will end up happening though is the star systems will cut holes in them, so it might look a little weird.
Gotcha.
There's something definitely to look at as we move forward though in polishing up the terrain. I know we Stefan, who made a bunch of the existing nebulas, had like an idea for a bunch of new nebulas, and I don't know if anything's come of that, but maybe we can look into that.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to. What's ironic is when I make custom maps for campaigns and stuff, I tend to do really big nebulas.
Right.
So it is odd that the game itself doesn't really have that many super big ones.
Mm-hmm.
If you set the nebula settings to really high, you'll probably get what appears to be big nebulas because they'll start smashing together.
Gotcha. Okay. There's a question here. Any plans for making dead and gas giant planets more usable over the chance of them being Thulium or Prometheum planets?
I would say not in that manner, but yeah, we're gonna probably tweak planet the way planet solar systems are done a little bit in Crusade, but there's no major plans to change that at this point now.
Okay. Excellent. And there have been a couple of people, Paul, who are curious about your thoughts on whether or not you've been playing any Stellaris and if you've gleaned any inspiration from that.
Oh, I played it. I played it quite a bit, especially the first day it came out. I like it. It's fun. It's really different because of the real time nature.
Is it real time?
What? Well, it's kind of real time.
Gotcha.
You can pause it.
Oh, okay.
As a matter of fact, my only complaint, and I don't mean to disparage our competition because it's a good game, is that the real time, because I'm so used to turns,
right?
The real time drives me nuts because I'll be like, okay, I'm done doing things.
Yeah.
And now I have to wait. And even if you speed it up, sometimes that takes a while.
Gotcha.
So that's a little weird. And like ships will go idle and I won't really know it. But overall, it's a really neat game. I think there's plenty of room for both of us. I did glean. I didn't really like go, I think the things that I'm most impressed by is their faction creation system, which they are able to do because they have a much cheaper to generate art style.
Gotcha.
And probably a much bigger budget.
Probably that's
so
true.
they have this really neat systems that I designed a game just for fun called Archipelago that was like, if I was making Galactic 3, if I had the Galactic 3 engine, I wanted to make a different game, what would I make? And I was in my design, I essentially did exactly that, but with cartoon-y looking like people. I wanted like, squirrels with monocles and things like that. So that was. I really like their faction creation. It's just such a different game. It's really hard to compare. Like, I mean, they don't even really have a tech tree in the way we have a tech tree, and the units are so important. And and even when we do introduce units, they're completely different type of thing. And I think that's good. I think it's good that Stellaris and Galciv are quite different. I think people who like either game will like the other game. I mean, and we have our issues and they have their issues. I'm sure if you go read reviews, somebody will bitch about it. I saw a review for Far Harbor, the new Fallout expansion this morning, and it was like, thumbs down, like all Fallout, this game is asterisk. Like, that is not a review. Don't do that, people. If you have like a complaint, say it, please. I think it's fun. I'm really excited by how well it was received. I know that sounds weird because I'm like, oh man, it sold so well. But for me, it makes me really happy because that means there's a lot more people who are now getting exposed to more strategy games.
Yeah,
they're now looking at space games and they're going, oh, hey, look. As a matter of fact, perfect timing. Galciv Anniversary Special is today and all weekend. And I'm sure a lot of those new Stellaris players who are been playing Crusader Kings or other Paradox properties are like, oh, hey, I like space. What other space strategy games are? Oh, here's Galactic Civilization. So it's good for everybody. Same with Moo. I didn't love Moo originally because I got it early access. But even it has a lot of things that I like. I wouldn't say we're going to steal anything from any of these, but we certainly look for what they do right and make sure that we're doing it too.
Right.
So if that, and often in different ways, sometimes in similar ways, just out of sheer coincidence because there's so many ways to do things.
Yeah.
So, I like it. I miss turns and I miss ship design. It's one thing that Galciv has that nobody else has anything really is our crazy ship designer.
It is pretty neat to see.
So, things like that. But it's a different game. It's good though.
Awesome.
I think everybody should get both. That's my official suggestion.
There you go. Jonah LR says, and I have to say I'm on board with this, Monocle Snathy leader confirmed.
I think, honestly, in my original the Rise of the Snathy the paragraph at the end of the Galciv thing, I'm like, oh, here's my idea for like a DLC. I had the old Snathy with a eye patch. And I think he ended up still having an eye patch.
I was going to say, doesn't
he? Yeah, and a little monocle-y.
That's funny.
It would be funny. I wish it was a little easier to mod the 3D model to have because that would be awesome.
Right. Zapgun for Hire says, is there any chance of an extremely stripped down version of Galciv 3 coming to the iPad? Say tiny or small maps only with only core factions.
God. I would say firmly at this point no.
Yeah.
And that is because it is impossible to make any money on mobile games right now.
The market
now, that doesn't mean that won't change.
Right.
Matter of fact, like 5 years ago, I got quoted at GDC. We're talking because I said, "Oh, I'd love to make an iPad version of Galciv," or iPads. I don't think existed yet. I was like, iPhone version of Galciv, and like the next day, it was like on some magazine.
Oh no!
And they were all poking fun. You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have said that. I'm like, no, we're not doing. No, you shouldn't have said that. And then, like literally, like the next day, it was. I actually
got assailed by the press.
I have actually sat down and kind of designed out a game called Galciv Pocket Universe.
Really?
Which is a very simplified version of Galciv that I think would be a good mobile game. But like I said, at this point, there's no money. Let me rephrase that. We have not been able to find a way to make money because all of the mobile games right now, it's such a lottery. And the only way to really be guaranteed is to hit the lottery and then also to be free to play. Mm-hmm. And I really have no interest in any sort of free to play model. I mean, it's the bane of my existence. So I don't want to, we don't want to get in that race down. Now, should the market change, we have tons of ideas, some of which are not even that terribly hard. Originally in Galciv 3, we wanted to have an iPad version of the ship designer where you would design your ships and then you could upload them into your game and stuff like that. And we kind of abandoned that early on because it just didn't work well with a touch. And then also because we realized there was no money. We made a game called Dead Man's Draw. Everybody should go try it. Great mobile game.
Dead Man's Draw is what turned me onto the company in the
It
first
is
place.
a really good mobile
game.
But if but there are other games that are less good or as good that are making billions of dollars. There are games probably that are better that are making no money because mobile is just such a crazy
definitely check out Dead Man's
race
Draw
to the
on
bottom
Steam.
right now. Yeah, but go try Dead Man's Draw. It's probably super cheap.
Honestly,
you can get it on Steam or you can get it on. I think it's on Android and iPhone, right?
No, it's not on Android yet.
It's not on Android?
It's just iPhone, iPad.
Okay, yeah.
But every person I have introduced that game to loves it.
It's a great game.
I have the physical card game, and it's like a family favorite. Every gathering we have, they're like, "You're bringing Dead Man's Draw, right?"
That's why one of the things is so disheartening is that we got a great game. It got really good reviews.
The design is beautiful too.
We
did a great job.
Got featured by Apple. We got all these things. We did all kinds of advertising. And you still just make no money, and you get bitched at because it's $1.99 or whatever, because well, I can get this other game for free. So yes, We would love to, but no, don't hold
Not
your breath.
likely, unfortunately. Thanks, Spencer. He in the chat comments you can see the link to Dead Man's Draw. So, let's see. We've got a couple other questions, and then we'll have to wrap up here soon.
I think the
we're about
Snathy might
15
be
minutes
killing
out.
me anyway. So
No Snathy, man. Hormvor says, will colonization events be fixed in 1.72, or is there going to be a hot fix before?
what's
wrong
broken?
with colonization?
Because I think we
events?
might have already fixed what he's.
Okay.
Because
If
we
you
did
could
do a
elaborate,
fix.
Hormvor, they did do a fix recently. So.
But I need to know what the problem was. If he's talking about them repeating or not repeating, of like the precursor ones showing up,
right.
that has been fixed, and then that did introduce another weird bug, and I forget what it was, but that has also been fixed. So that is probably in the current thing.
Okay.
As far as I know, they're rock solid in 1.71.
Right. Gotcha. Let's see. Are there any plans for Starbase Designer, or more accurately, could we get a way to customize our starbases and shipyards to make it more personalized?
There is plans in my brain for such a thing. Getting it on the schedule is more difficult. Hope maybe in Crusade. I've always wanted to make starbases a much more robust thing. Probably a rarer thing. So you would treat them almost more like cities. I mean, not like cities, like planets, where you'd be adding things, and then you could build the cosmetic thing.
Gotcha.
Maybe the best. No, it wouldn't be a good analogy. So maybe a little bit like it'd be essentially like a ship, be like a starbase, but as you're building the features, you could also build cosmetic things, and you could put the modules on however you wanted and stuff.
Gotcha.
So it would become almost a little bit like a settlement in Fallout or something like that, where the things you're adding are actual, real, practical things, but just like the ship designer, but with maybe with less of an emphasis on it just being strictly cosmetic. So yes, we want to do that, but it's one of those things that we'll probably have to wait until we completely redo those, which might sadly not be until like Galciv 4.
Gotcha.
But that's saying that yes, we'd love to do something like that. At the very least, we will make it in the ship bundling thing in Crusade. In the ship style set is also all the star bases.
Right.
So you will be able to make your own star bases and have your ship style use your own star bases.
Mm-hmm.
So at the very least, you can do that.
Some elaboration on that previous question. Hormvor says they stop at 34 colonies, even with modded and
that bug has been fixed. Yeah.
Zapgun says it has not in 1.71. He says it's still happening for him.
Okay, well, I will report that, but I was told that was fixed.
Okay.
Essentially what happened is we had this bug where it would overflow into the next... it would overflow into things that were set to 0 likelihood.
Oh, I see.
Which are the precursor world ones. And it would go, oh, okay, well, I've used everything, but I haven't used this. And even though it's 0 likelihood, I still haven't used it, so it's the most likely thing.
Gotcha.
So we fixed that, and I think that introduced a bug where it got to the end and it just stopped.
Gotcha.
But I remember seeing a check-in that says ships now start colonizing events now repeat if all of them have been done.
Okay.
So that and we are looking into just making some more. But I will report that maybe it's in 7.2. Like I said, I'm a month or so ahead of everybody. So I oops, and I lost. And I saw that. And I saw
Happy
that check-in,
birthday,
so I
Paul.
know it has been fixed. You just may not have it yet.
Okay. So we're getting close to wrapping up the stream. Spencer's going to be giving away that last key in a moment here. So what I want to ask you, Paul, is you've been with the company how long? Hasn't it been like 12 years or something like that?
Oh, God, no. 14? 13?
So longer. So, and you've been working on Galciv that entire time, primarily?
No, I came on with the original. Galciv 1 was still in works, but I was working on Political Machine.
Okay.
And then I worked on Galciv 2 the whole cycle, and then Elemental, then Elemental, Fallen Enchantress. And then at the end of Fallen Enchantress is when I became the designer for Galciv 3, and then I've been working on Galciv 3.
So do you have any personal thoughts as far as where your journey's gone from start to finish, and what you're doing with Galactic 3 and that sort of thing?
It's been really cool. I really love. I mean, there's certain things about Galciv that I love maybe more than I should, like the ship designer and things like that. I have a hard time playing other strategy games because I'm so biased now to the way Galciv plays, and so I really love that. It's fun. I've learned a lot working here. I went from being an artist to an art director to an art director who was
artist. I see.
Yeah, I started as an artist. I came in because I was making icons for Brad. So and then I became like an artist and like primary UI artist, and then the UI led me into a little bit of design, and then art director, and then art director led me into more design. And then eventually I started yelling at everybody to design things the way I wanted, and they went, maybe we should let him design this damn thing. So that's how I became a designer. So
that's how it works.
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, it's one of those things where if you're passionate about something, and if you work, I mean,
there are a lot of
my wife,
people
I
here.
work a lot.
You are here a lot.
So it kind of, snowballs, and it's been really fun. I every time I work on Galciv, I'm happy with how it is, but I'm also going, oh man, we could do this better, and we could do this better, and do this better, and I keep thinking, once Galciv is done, it's as good as I want it to be, then I can maybe move on to something else. But
is it ever going to get
I
to that
don't know
point
if that's
for you,
ever
Paul?
going to happen. I would like to say that Crusade will be that moment, but who knows?
We're not sure if Paul actually sleeps.
I sleep. I just see XML
You see space
in my
and XML sheets in your dreams.
I see XML and I have dreams about VB scripts of.
I bet Kristen loves that.
Yeah. So that's so it's been fun, and I think we have a really good game. I hope, and obviously if you're watching stream, you've probably played it. Hopefully you like it.
There are a lot of people
tell a
saying
friend.
thank you to you and appreciative of Galciv and Galciv 3's anniversary.
And we're just, and I'd like to think that since Galciv came out, it has gotten a lot better. And it's just going to get better and better and better.
Just keep getting on getting.
And, and then what's funny is we'll get to the end of it and everybody will remember, the last iteration as, it was always like that. Because that's what happened with Twilight. Everybody's like, Galciv 2 was perfect. It had all these things, had all these features. Yeah, those you're talking about over 6 years of development.
Right.
But, it's hard to remember that when you just bought something for $4.99
well, absolutely
on sale.
True. So
that it's actually the product of many years of work. So, yeah, I'm very excited to keep working on it, and we'll see what's next. But I think there's still several free new features coming out, so keep checking back. Right. And, of course, check out all the DLC because that pays for us to keep doing these free features.
Right.
So.
The Galactic Civilizations 3 anniversary sale is going on Steam right now. Spencer has posted a link, and I'm sure he'll post another one.
I think
Spencer's
that the bundle, I'm not sure how the bundle, you know how the bundle works?
Yeah, the gold. The
yeah, does
gold.
that charge you for only what you're missing?
For only what you're missing. So if you own everything.
So that's why it doesn't just have a price next to
That's
it.
right. So if you own, say, 2 pieces of DLC and the base game, it will just charge you for what's remaining.
Yeah.
So,
So if you like the game, that's probably your
discounts.
best bang for the buck if you've already got it. And then if you don't have the game, or if you want to give the game to somebody, or if you know somebody who would like the game, make sure they know that the base game is 66% off.
Yes, it's a pretty good sale price. So definitely check it out. We're looking forward to talking more about Galciv in the future, and we thank you guys for stopping by and hanging out with us for the last hour. So thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon. Happy birthday, Galciv! Woo!
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I was able to do that.